morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of voice for radio. So today we need to take a look at a couple of new EXs, one of which looks pretty gosh darned interesting, and one of which looks like genuinely a little bit full-on broken. Yeah, let's start there with Gholdengo EX. And we kind of knew Gholdengo EX was going to be good. That was kind of a given, because firstly, it's on the booster pack for Raging Surf, and the ones on the booster pack tend to be pretty good. Remember, Japan only has one booster pack per set. Having said that, Groudon's on the booster pack as well, and the Groudon from this set's pretty terrible. So, I don't know, I still figured it was going to be good. Not to mention, of course, the fact that Gholdengo is Pokemon number 1000, and that this is the first Gholdengo card we've ever seen. There was enough to suggest that this might be very good. And it is very good. I'm just going to spoil the surprise. I'm going to get to the end and give it 5 Wassies. But why am I giving it 5 Wassies? Well, firstly, we've got an ability here which is pretty good. Although before, I suppose we should mention 260 HP, 2 retreat, weakness to fire, nothing particularly noteworthy at all. Except for the ability. The ability says once during your turn, you may draw a card. If this Pokemon is in the active position, you may draw 2 cards instead. And this is actually Slurpuff. This is legitimately the Slurpuff with tasting from Phantom Forces that was played a huge amount with Seismitoad back in the day. It was like legit broken, because Seismitoad was actually broken, and this was just a little bit of extra draw power, and you switch between them, and I'm not saying this is going to be quite as impactful as Slurpuff was back then, but I am telling you that Slurpuff saw an obscene amount of play. It saw a ridiculous amount of play. It was a phenomenal card, and the attack on that Slurpuff was absolute, like, full-on trash garbage, but it was there just because the draw power is good. Make no mistake about it, you get a couple of these on the field and, you know, get them in and out the active every turn. That is a legitimate amount of draw power. And I know we've got, like, Mew coming, and Mew is really good, and it's a basic, but Mew draws until you've got 3 cards in your hand. The reason why this is so good is because it just draws. We see loads of draw until you've got X number of cards in your hand, like the upcoming Mew, but the fact that this just draws regardless of how many cards you've got in your hand, that is actually genuinely really significant. And it's a stage 1. And this is awesome. Like, Tinkaton will let you draw 3 cards, but Tinkaton's a stage 2. Revavroom will let you draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. Bibarel will let you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand. Now, to be fair, Curlier's discard a card, draw 2. That's really, really good. We've seen that a million times. This doesn't make you discard. Like, every other card seems to make you discard or do something like that, or it's a stage 2, etc., etc. This is just a draw 1, but if you can get it into the active, draw 2. I know that might not, on the face of it, sound terribly exciting. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually, like, genuinely, legitimately exciting. I am genuinely, legitimately excited. But it's actually the attack we're mostly excited about here. For 1 Metal Energy, discard any number of basic energy cards from your hand. This attack does 50 damage for each card discarded in this way. And it's for 1 Metal Energy. So, it's an awkward one. You can just play a couple of Metal Energy, or you can play something like a Luminous Energy, which will count here. But obviously, you want to play as many basic energy as you can to fuel this attack. So it is going to be a little bit awkward as to exactly where you come down with the energy count, unless you just go full on metal. And obviously, you do have the option of going full on metal. But my point here is, get a bunch of energy in your hand, and you just KO anything. And while we're comparing to old cards, this is Blacephalon. Like, this is literally just Blacephalon. You know, the one that saw a ridiculous amount of play? Because it let you discard any number of fire energy from your hand and do 50 damage for each card you discarded in this way. Now, that was on a basic, but it was also for free energy, so you had to get a welder to get the other 2 energy on, which was not always something you'd be able to do particularly easily. Make no mistake about it, this is a phenomenal attack, combined with a really good ability. This is one of those where, when we're making a list of the best EXs, I expect this to be on that list, and I expect this to be high up that list. Now, in terms of getting the energy, obviously Blacephalon had a bunch of tricks that this doesn't necessarily have, but don't forget that Superior Energy Retrieval is in the game right now. Will let you discard 2 cards from your hand and then get 4 basic energy back from the discard pile. That's 200 damage. We've got Letter of Encouragement. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, go and search for free energy. That's going to be pretty gosh darn good. We've still got just boring everyday run-of-the-mill energy retrieval, which will get you 2 energy back from the discard. We have got ways to get our energy here, is what I'm saying. And it's really, really, really good. I love this. And this doesn't have to be the only attacker in your deck. You can go full on like an old school Blacephalon deck and just try and make your deck to do this every single turn and destroy. Or you can go a little bit more conservative here and just use this as that one big attack. You know, you've got your main deck rolling, but anytime you need to get just a giant big KO, you know, if you get 5, 6, 7 energy in your hand, you can KO like literally anything. And that's kind of my point here. This is a really good draw ability combined with a really good KO literally anything attack. This is a flat out, no question, hands down 5 Wazzy card. We saw Garchomp the other day, and I'm just going to come out and say it, Garchomp was a little disappointing. I'm not saying Garchomp's definitely going to be terrible or anything like that. You know, single energy, 160 damage, and then you get to grab free fighting energy from your trash, attach them to your bench in any way you like, or discard 2 energy and do 120 anywhere. Like, it's a decent enough card, but it's a stage 2 and it's a bit awkward. This is just a flat-out broken stage 1. And if we go back to the front of the booster pack for Raging Surf, yeah, maybe this is the one we should have been focusing on all along. This is genuinely brilliant. So, I feel a little bit mad for Hooper, right? And it's not because Hooper's not cool. And it's not because this Hooper card doesn't have potential. It's because I've just told you quite how ridiculously over-the-top good Gholdengo is. And bless him, Hooper's not quite on that level. But don't turn off. Hooper's still got a lot of potential. What we've got from Hooper here is we got a basic Pokemon, because it's Hooper, 220 HP. It's a fighting type Hooper, because it's a Terra EX, so it's got a different typing. And it uses Darkness Energy still, which is actually kind of annoying to me because you can't use Dark Patch. And that's one of the main things we like about Darkness Pokemon, is the fact that we can actually go and use Dark Patch. So you're fighting type, which is great, you're hitting another weakness, yay, etc. But you're not actually able to use Dark Patch to accelerate energy, and that's genuinely a little bit annoying, because Dark Patch will only attach to bench Darkness Pokemon, and this obviously doesn't count. But what we've got is 2 Darkness Energy, 50 damage, for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon in play. I love this. I wish we had a better way to accelerate the energy. And the fact of the matter is, we don't. And that's actually really kind of annoying. Because this would be a perfect Pokemon to just whack down, energy, Dark Patch, ha 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 ha. You're off and you're getting like a giant KO because you've come out of nowhere to do a giant KO. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. And it's a fighting Pokemon, so we've got Gutsy Pickaxe, except that only attaches fighting energy. And it will attach to any bench Pokemon, but it only attaches fighting energy, and this needs Darkness Energy. Now, obviously, we can play around with something like Energy Switch here. So the theory is essentially that you Dark Patch onto something else, or you just already have the energy there, and then you use Energy Switch to move it over as a surprise. But I love this as a surprise attack. I love this as a, either you're hitting for weakness, you basically need 3 energy, maybe 4, or you're not hitting for weakness, you need between 5 and 7 energy to KO anything. Your opponent attaches a bunch of energy, and you just go Hooper, energy switch, ha ha ha, giant KO. Because if your opponent knows you've got Hooper, they're not going to attach too much energy. They are going to avoid it. But if they don't know you've got enough energy, what you can go and do is drop this as a surprise, big KO. I love this where it's a surprise. The other one's free energy 200 and you can't use this attack during your next turn. It's not good enough. I want to be doing 220 to get EX's minimum, and I know I can do that with Choice Belt, but I don't want to have to put a Choice Belt on here. I don't like this attack. I think the free energy for 200 isn't good enough. I'm not a fan of this second attack at all, but I do like the first attack. I think the first attack, if you can drop it as a good surprise, is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. An interesting card to be sure, but I want to be 100% clear here. Gholdengo is the star of this video, and really Gholdengo is the star of this set, and you're going to be seeing a lot of it. That draw power combined with that attack, hooey. I am absent. Sometimes I see a new Pokemon, a new EXV, whatever they are, and I'm just like, oh yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And yeah, for older players, we're basically saying, oh yeah, it's Surpuff plus Blacephalon. It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of those cards that I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about Gholdengo. Tell me if you think I'm exaggerating, or tell me whether you think it's as good as I think it is. Go nuts in the comment section. But be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Andrew Kincaid, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now, and is a very lovely person, and has actually helped out a bunch with other various things just because they are a very kind and lovely person. And I very much appreciate it. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.